Hi, good evening. How are you guys doing tonight? Good evening, Rizal. How you doing? We were here on Thursday night looking at Terminators, and that is where we're going to start tonight, I think. Quite a lot to do in these Terminators, to be honest. We were trying to put some yellow onto their guns to get sort of like a retro feel. And probably yellows onto these claws as well, actually. So I kind of wanted to do. Good evening, Mike. Good evening. To Wound, how you guys doing? I kind of wanted to do suppressors tonight, honestly. And I looked out my suppressors, and then I realised that I've packed their flight stands, which is really annoying because I'm moving house. So I've packed them into the storage unit, and I have no idea which box they are in the storage unit. And I really want to find them, but it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be an absolute nightmare to find them. So, I mean, I'll be able to find them. Just, I'm probably not going up to my storage crate tomorrow, so I don't know when I'm going to get to finding these, finding the flight stands. But yeah, no, I want to do suppressors. I'm trying something different in this list with the Terminators, so I thought maybe I'd try something different with some suppressors too. I hope you guys are having a good Saturday. Let me know in the chat what you're working on tonight, where you're from, any questions you have about Blood Angels. And I am going to, this week is going to be the video, or this is going to be the week that I put out a video about my tournament list. I did pretty well at the tournament I went to. So, I know some people have been asking for that video. It's definitely in the works and it's coming this week. So these are some really old metal Terminators that I have here, and as such they were on the wrong size bases, so I've used like base extender rings, and the reason the bases look all green and gnarly is because I filled these rings, I guess you could probably see it here. I filled these with green stuff, so I used like base extenders and then just filled it with green stuff. So I'm just going to paint over that to begin with. But yeah, these guys are going to be in the right. I think it's 40mm bases that Terminators come on, and back in the day they came on like 25s. I think these guys were yeah, I think these guys were on 25s. So quite a bit smaller than the bases Terminators come on these days. So just getting these guys to conform to the right size. And I like those base extender rings. They're pretty easy to use. You don't have to put green stuff into the gap between them. I do. I'm working on my last Vanguard veteran, says Oscar. Good evening, Oscar. How you doing? Corbin, sorry if I call it early, John. I have a marching band competition today, so I'm just beat and wanted to stop by. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, I'm kind of beat actually. I must have moved like another 20 or 30 boxes into storage today. So we're moving house in like 3 or 4 weeks, and because my wife is pregnant, that means my wife cannot pick anything up. So it's been it's not been a nightmare, I guess, because I don't mind physical exercise and stuff. I actually quite enjoy it, but like my back is sore, I'm tired. I think the main thing is just my back is sore. But yeah, figured to get on here and get a little bit of painting done on these Terminators. I'm kind of tempted to run these Terminators in the next tournament. I have a tournament on the 12th of December. No, 12th of November, sorry. So I'm kind of tempted to maybe run some Terminators. We'll see. I kind of like the idea of running some Terminators with some suppressors as just something very different. Like, I don't tend to conform. I don't tend to do what other people do. I do my own thing. I always do my own thing. And yeah, I was actually kind of wondering if I can get the Centurions to work into my list again, but no, I think Centurions, you need to run a Sanguinary Priest to make them good, and I don't want to run a Sanguinary Priest right now. I haven't really enjoyed the Sanguinary Priest since they put them up to 155 points, honestly. If you're not enjoying something as well, I mean that can change your perception of it, right? No school like the old school, says Mick. Yeah. Well, we're gonna get some Averland Sunset out in a minute and try and get these guns looking a bit better. We gave them like one coat the other night, but they definitely need a bit more. What's up? I've only been streaming for about 5 minutes, Spiderwing. You're catching this at the start. Good evening, Robert. How you doing? Oh, there's cheaters in Horus Heresy Legions. I haven't actually really played that game. I think it's a bit like Hearthstone, right? I played Hearthstone, but yeah, I guess I don't get as much time for video games these days as I used to. I like to play video games on the Switch because I can use the Switch like while I'm looking after my daughter or while she's sleeping or something like that, you know. It's hard to settle down and play a PC game. Played a game versus Drukhari with the latest list I submitted for review last night. The surprise of the Terrax with Death Company and support helped me kill 2 raiders and a Ravager in turn 1. Nice. So did you win the game, Kerry? I like the Terrax drill. It's one of the few models I don't have. Maybe I need to buy a Terrax drill. I kind of hate the working with resin, you know, like the Forge World resin. It's just I don't know how you put it. It's just fiddly, isn't it? It's fiddly and it's time consuming. And once you've got a 1-year-old kid, trust me, time consuming is not a good thing. I struggled. I really thought I was going to struggle for that last tournament to have everything painted, and I know like technically for a tournament you can just do like 3 colors and some basing, but like I like to have the models finished. I like to have everything done to like a high quality level standard, sort of, or as high as I can do, I guess. I amn't the greatest painter. I'm sure you guys have heard me say that. These old metal models, some of the metal parts really have a poor level of definition in them. You know, I used to love the metal, but once they got good with, you know, like the new plastic stuff is so much nicer to work with than the metal, honestly. Like, it's just night and day how much better it is. But yeah, these basic extenders, I bought them on eBay. They were like pretty cheap, like maybe like £5 for 5 of them or something. And you can just quickly, you can basically just snap them in and you're done. But I like to go a little bit further and match it up or fill in the gap, and then I always put down this layer of paint onto the base extender, and then afterwards I'll put on some texture paint, I guess. Something like Armageddon Dust or something. Armageddon Dust is one of the paints I use a lot in my army, actually. I haven't run into any cheaters, but I hate Alpha Legion players and their stupid trap cards. I need to play that game at some point, I really do. Is it on any mobile devices or it's just on PC? What are we working on tonight? Edge highlighting a Redeemer, says Robert. What does Varnish do? Varnish means that I varnish all my guys. It means when you drop them, the paint doesn't chip off them, basically. It just adds like another... It's basically a coat of protection to your models, is what Varnish does, I guess. I remember having a Metal Witch King of Angramar back in the day. Never again. Do you have any Blood Angels Assault Terminators? Do you know what? I do have Assault Terminators. And I think people asked me this on stream the other night. I have like 20 Assault Terminators. And I like them, but the army I'm running right now, and bear in mind this is like a ultra competitive tournament list that I'm trying to make. The army I'm running already has like plenty of other assault things. So I actually need like a little bit of shooting here and there, so that's why I'm doing regular Terminators. But you'll notice a bunch of them have chain fists, so they're very much geared towards anti-vehicles. Chain fists, of course, doing a flat 3 damage against the vehicles, right? So although it's not assault Terminators, they are set up in combat to take out vehicles. I actually think the flat 3 is kind of better right now than the D3 from like a chain fist is kind of better than the 2 damage of the power fist, because like if you run into Death Guard, for example, 2 damage power fists are always 1 damage, right? But like if you have a chain fist, then occasionally, I guess it's 1 in 3, for example. So if you're fighting Death Guard 1 in 3 times, you do the 3 damage roll, and you do additional damage. Because in Death Guard, if you were using a chain fist and you roll a 1 for the damage, or a 1 or a 2 because it's D3, you still do 1. You know, if you roll a 3 or 4, you still do 1. But then if you roll a 5 or 6, you actually do 2. So I kind of think that chain fists are better than power fists. I can't see any situation where I think power fists are better as it stands. I mostly like metal models, don't just like resin either. Yeah, I'm a sucker for the new plastic models, I guess. I think they're very easy to paint, and they're kind of a nice weight for working on long periods of time, I guess. Like when I did my Falchion super heavy tank, my arm was getting like, my arm was going dead from holding that thing because it was so damn heavy. So yeah, I like the new plastic. I'm a fanboy for the new plastic. About to go on a dove hunt today. Glad I could say hi. Thanks for saying hi, Texan. I think we've got your list up for review on the Army List show tomorrow, so that should be cool. But yeah, I didn't. You know, like I've only tried the Cyclone missile launcher like 1 time recently, and like when I tried it, I thought like, it's pretty expensive at 25 points, but I've won 2 games in a row now with Terminators on my list, and a quick update, guys, because Andrew's been. I don't know if you'd be jelly if you knew that all 20 of them needed painted, because I've really neglected my Terminators. Emrana, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. MHR Anra? Manrana? I have no idea how to say that. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. Yeah, a quick update on the London Grand Tournament. So Andrew's orc list that you guys saw on the channel on Monday night that we beat, he's gone 3-0 on the first day. He went like, I think he had like a win, like, I think all 3 of his wins have been like mid-80s against like mid-50s. So he's beaten Death Guard, he's beaten White Scots, and I think he's beaten... Oh, I think he might have said Gene Stealer cults, I don't remember. But, I mean, aggressors, I guess, are your melee. But, I mean, the thing I don't like about aggressors is, like, I don't know if they should still be -1 to hit, right? Like, both their arms are basically power fists, but, like, that's the thing I like about the Centurions. You know, the Centurions don't get -1 to hit. And their drills are 3 damage, which is really, really nice. Very good against Death Guard, the 3 damage from the Centurion drills. And then, you know, just very flat 3 damage when you've got that many attacks that the Centurions have. It's hard to argue with it. I guess in general it's just very good. I like Centurions a lot. I still like them even if I'm not running them right now. Like, sometimes I just look at them. Like, I generally really like Centurions. Aggressors are much more powerful in melee than shooting. I mean, yeah, I think so. I think aggressors are much better with flamers. Unfortunately, last edition they were really good with the bolt guns, so I actually have like 6 aggressors all made and painted with bolt guns, and then like I just never use them now. I think flamers are the better choice. I guess that's one of those situations where definitely should have magnetized the models, I guess, because now they just sit in a drawer and do nothing. I need to order some new paintbrushes as well. The ones I've got here are getting a bit tatty, but I was on Element Games website this week, and it doesn't look like they have any of the paintbrushes that I like in stock, so I put in a reminder to like get them to email me when they are in stock. Bollocks. Don't put the wrong colour paint on his face, John. I sort of saved that. Scorers of Gravis boys running around with swords, axes, and shields would be badass. Hope we get it one day. Howdy, Jeff. Yeah, I mean, I think Games Workshop are always pushing their Primaris Marines. Like, that feels like that's all they do now is push Primaris Marines, right? Like, there's nothing ever exciting anymore about Firstborn ever. It's always Primaris now. So I would guess that if they are always just going to push Primaris, then at some point we should get like the equivalent of like Primaris Terminators and or Primaris Sangregard, Primaris Vanguard Vets. I mean, like, because it doesn't seem like they don't care about Firstborn stuff anymore, period, I think. I could be wrong, but that's definitely the feeling I get. Like, caring about Firstborn stuff is not on the menu anymore. Evening, brothers. I've actually got some Marines to paint for a change. I usually paint Elder when you're on. Well, thanks for being here, Kaichek. It's always good to paint Marines. I feel like I am always painting Marines. One of these nights I'm going to paint like a different army, but probably not for a while. I might try and blast through these 50 Terminators that I have, and then I was thinking I might buy like that Land Raider Proteus or something that can actually deliver them pretty reliably and strongly in 9th. Because I have a Crusader and I have a regular Land Raider, but because they don't have invulnerable saves, it feels very difficult to run them, I guess. I'd love to see some Toughness 5 Terminators. I think everybody would love to see some Toughness 5 Terminators, wouldn't they? I would give a Captain Terminator Armor Mastercrafted Relic Blade plus the Imperium Sword. 6 attacks on the charge, reroll charges, strength 8, hits on 2s. Yeah, I mean, I played a Terminator Captain this week in the game against Andrew, and like, he's not bad. The thing about Terminators is they're not really mobile, are they? Like, once they come down on the board, they're just slow. You can kind of counteract that, I guess, with some stratagems and some like good consolidation moves and stuff, but they are just slow. So I guess if you can deal with them being slow, then they're cool units, I guess. New Dante model should be up next. Can't have a midget Dante and a bunch of army with Primaris. I mean, we've been talking about a new Dante on this channel now for a long time, right? Who knows who knows when or if we get a new Dante. I mean, I feel like it would sell a lot of Dantes though, right? Like I feel like a lot of people would buy a new Dante model, or doesn't necessarily need to be Dante, does it? Just a new Blood Angels Chapter Master. I mean, Dante is very old. If they need to kill him off in the lore and replace him with someone younger, that would be okay, right? Yeah, it does feel a little bit annoying that Black Templar got like, but I mean, I guess the argument there could be, Robert, that Blood Angels got Primaris Death Company. I know nobody uses them, or very few people run Primaris Death Company. You know, like we do army list reviews like every week. We rarely ever see Primaris Death Company. And I think maybe it's just like an innate problem with the Death Company, and that like they can't fall back and they can't do actions, so people don't want to run them because there's too many negatives with them. But we definitely do not see Death Company very often at all. Sorry, Primaris Death Company we don't see often at all. Am I picking up the new Sergeant for $150? No. I don't buy my miniatures straight from Games Workshop because, like, they're already like 20 or 30% more expensive, right? Like, if I buy my miniatures, I buy it from like, well, here in the UK, I use Element Games. I may as well plug Element Games because Element Games have been pretty good to me, right? Like they, if you go into Element Games and search Blood Angels Commander, they actually made like a couple of bundles on there. There's like a Blood Angels Commander HQ bundle, a Blood Angels Commander Fast Attack bundle, and if you buy those bundles, then I don't remember. I think the bundles are all about 50 to $100. If you buy any of those bundles on there from Element Games, like I basically get like $5. So like on Element Games, everything is cheaper than the Games Workshop website, and you know, they've also been really nice to me. So if you're going to buy models here in the UK, like I don't know why you'd pay full price to buy them from Games Workshop when you can get them cheaper elsewhere. But anyway, I think $150 is a lot to ask. I get that the model's free, so right, like they have to ask you to spend quite a bit because the model's free, but also like they didn't give very, you know, like I'm moving home this month, so like I literally have no money because I need to rent a van, I need to rent some self-storage, I need to pay some people to help me move. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like it when companies do this thing where like they don't give consumers a lot of time to react. How does Element go with international shipping? Element was good with international shipping before Brexit. Brexit has been an absolute nightmare, both for people here in the UK and for businesses. Sorry, for like getting goods delivered into the UK and for businesses delivering goods into Europe. It has been terrible as far as I'm aware, like absolutely terrible. And yeah, so if you're not in the UK, probably before Brexit, you could use Element Games. Probably now, I mean, you might be able to, but just check all your shipping costs and stuff before you do it, because Brexit has just been an absolute mess. I personally hate the whole Brexit thing and the argument behind it. Like, I didn't want to leave the European Union. I think it was the stupidest thing ever, but you know, I guess the times that we live in, some people wanted to leave, I guess, or a lot of people wanted to leave. Should probably just move off Brexit, because I could rant about that all week. The vouchers don't count towards £150. Wow, that's even more shitty. Yeah, Blood Angels are apparently the most popular faction. You are right on that. So if we are the most popular faction, the fact that we have a really old chapter master model, it's a little bit strange, right? In the US, just go to stores like Dicehead. Okay, I've never heard of Dicehead. What are you referring to hit to wound? I'm not actually sure. I'm not sure actually what happened with that Colonel. Element games are no good if you're in Republic of Ireland. Yeah, well, that's Brexit, man. I live in Scotland, and in Scotland we actually voted against Brexit. Like, it was pretty heavy. 77% or something of Scotland wanted to stay, but like because we share all our votes, I guess, with England and stuff, we get overruled because our population is very small. So yeah, I don't know. The thing that I don't, yeah. Do you know what? Don't get me started on Brexit, because I could rant about it for the whole 2-hour stream. All right, we're gonna put some yellow on these guns. Like I said, these guys are going. I started painting them black, but in hindsight, I decided that black was the wrong choice. We're gonna go old school on these storm bolters. They are gonna be yellow. I'll probably have to come back and do multiple coats of this yellow, because the yellow will not go over black nicely, but that's okay. I've got some off camera that we did yellow. We put the first coat of yellow on the other night, so but I would be cool if I could have a list that actually was pretty competitive with Terminators in it. We don't see Terminators all that. We see them a little bit for Blood Angels, but I don't know if we see them all that much in like competitive play. But I'm gonna try and get them to work. I always like the Terminators with Storm Bolters, especially, you know, like arriving from Deep Strike, Bolter Discipline. That's a lot of shots, and then, you know, Bolter Discipline into one target and then charge a different target. You know. I predict Dante merging with the Spirit of Sanguinius for a new Primarch model. They gave independent stores a couple each free, and they made about 10,000 of them. Paint the Dawnstone as the undercoat for the yellow. Do you know what? You're probably right. We should have probably done that, but yeah, Dawnstone is a brilliant paint. I love it. It goes over just about everything, doesn't it? And always gives you that really nice, solid grey finish that then you can just take wherever you need to go from there. It's fine though. I'm sure a few coats of yellow will get over this black eventually. We've got a few others, like I said, just off. I'll pick up one of the ones that I did the other night here in a second. Like this was one of the ones that we did the other night, trying to do yellow over black. And yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's getting there. I think this one probably already had 2 coats, so I think this third coat will just about do it. Maybe it needs 4, but it'll be okay. Like I said, I only tend to paint for like battle ready purposes. I'm never gonna win Golden Demons, so. I care more about winning on the table than how my models are painted. I mean, I like them to look decent, but battle ready plus, I guess, is how I would describe them. Because battle ready can be, you know, battle ready can be like 3 colors and nothing else, right? So battle ready plus feels like an accurate description. I'm not gonna lie, watching you chat to another chat, I can't even see or make out what they're saying isn't great. Choose one, dude. You should be able to see the chat on screen, right? Why can't you make it out? But you know, I'm typically stream to both YouTube and Twitch. And I'll answer questions on both, so, I mean, same as when we do like live games on Monday night, we put them on both. I mean, you should be able to see the chat on screen. I guess if you're like on a smaller screen device or something, you might not be able to see the chat. But yeah, I don't know. My plan originally was to try and grow the channel both on YouTube and Twitch. I guess I've had a lot more success on YouTube, so YouTube, I guess, is where my primary audience is, but it doesn't mean that I want to just give up on Twitch, right? But yeah, I mean, if you want to join the chat, if you want to see it, if you want to get everybody's chat in the chat box, then I guess head over to YouTube. But I'm going to continue to try and stream on Twitch as well. Yeah, 3 coats maybe looks okay on camera. I feel like it's probably going to be 4 though. And it was my own stupid fault because I started painting back on these things and then decided that I wanted to go more old school. I should have. Sometimes if I don't know what paint scheme I'm going with, I just sit down and start painting, and then I guess if that changes halfway through, that changes halfway through. These old metal models though, like the definition on some of these pieces is pretty rough. Like there's not. That's why I think the plastic models are good. Like they've moved on a lot since the metal. I remember when I first came back to the hobby and I was like, I don't know if I like it that all the models are plastic, but yeah. If you're ever in doubt, the plastic is much better. It must be my rubbish 4K PC monitor. You see the chat box in the top left of the screen, right? Or you don't see it? Yellow with black stripes, a classic route. Yeah, I mean that's what we're gonna do. We are gonna do hazard stripes on these chain fists, but I guess we'll start by getting the yellow done. Because if we try and do hazard stripes, like we start with the black, we'll have to do so many coats of the yellow, and I'll definitely end up messing that up. That'll be so difficult to do. So if we start with the yellow, then I can just do like 1 or 2 stripes of black over it. I think that'll be much easier. But yeah, probably once I've finished these Terminators, I might move straight onto the Assault Terminators as well. Just because, like, I have a lot of them, and they've been neglected because I've been painting Sanguinary Guard and Death Company, and I did a 20-man squad of Vanguard Vets recently. Because Lightning Claws and Vanguard Vets are apparently stupidly powerful and everybody's using them. I don't know why people weren't using Lightning Claws before. Like, did Lightning Claws get a big drop in points? Is that what happened? Because I'm trying to think, like, Lightning Claws, their ruling didn't change, right? Like, you always got to reroll wounds with Lightning Claws, I think. Like, there was always an advantage to having them, right? I always wanted some guys armed with chain fists. Yeah, I mean, honestly, these metal Terminators are probably older than some of the people in the chat, because I started Warhammer in, I think it was 1992, and I think when I bought these metal Terminators, I think It used to be in the UK anyway. It used to be £9.99, so like $10 for a Rhino. I think a Dreadnought used to be 15, and I think it used to be 15 for 5 metal Terminators. I was actually, because I've been moving house, I was actually like found a bunch of very old Warhammer boxes this last few days. So I found like a 2nd edition Whirlwind box, a 2nd edition Predator box, a 2nd edition Rhino box, and I was like looking at all the boxes. I was like, do any of these boxes still have like a price on them from the store? But no, unfortunately none of them did, because I was really curious as to what the price actually was. Like how much did I actually pay for my Whirlwind? Was it like $12 or something, you know? By the way, when I streamed the other night, people said the music was too loud, and someone actually commented and said the music was god awful. So if anyone's got any comments on the music tonight, hit me up in the chat and we can make some changes. I tend to zone out and don't really listen to the music, I guess. So if it is god awful, though, please tell me and I will change it. A random question, do you own an Astraeus? No, I own 2 super heavy tanks. I own the Falchion and I own the Cerberus. The Falchion is finished, as I'm sure you've seen it in some of the battles on the channel. The Cerberus is like, I'd say almost base coated. I kinda regret buying the Cerberus a little bit, because I bought the Cerberus, I think, because it's very similar to the Falchion, you know, like it's got that big main cannon that can do like the flat 6 damage, and while the Falchions is like, what's the deal with the Falchions? You get like, it's a heavy 2d3, the Cerberus is just like flat 4 number of shots. So like I like the Cerberus a lot because I was like, oh cool, so you just get flat 4 shots, and it's got strength 14, I think. So, you know, you're wounding enemy toughness 7 armor on 2s. If you got a Tech Marine there, you're probably hitting on 2s. I can't remember. I think when we reviewed the Cerberus, like, we just didn't think it was very competitive points-wise, right? Like, it was just maybe... But yeah, no, an Astraeus, I like the Astraeus tank. I think it's very cool looking. I had one on my wish list for a little while, like pretty high up my wish list, but I've kind of gone off of it. I like that it's got the void shields. I like its main cannon, I think. I just don't know if it's... Like, I think if you're going to bring one of those super heavy tanks to Blood Angel's army, like it has to have like a really defined purpose, and like the one that I bring is very defined as like a tank killer. Would you mix double lightning claw with a couple of shields and hammers, or go pure one and the other? Alright, so people tonight like the music, cool. I run my Vanguard veterans with, all of them always have storm shields. Extra attack for each lightning claw was the change, I think. Alright. I always run them with storm shields, even the ones that have lightning claws. I usually give the sergeant a thunderhammer if I can afford it on points. Sometimes I'll have a second guy in the squad with a thunderhammer again if I can afford it on points. I don't like the double lightning claw because I don't think Vanguard veterans are... Like, I don't think power armor is good anymore. You know, like... There was a time in the game where like a 3-up save with power armor was like, it was solid, you know, it was like, oh geez, these guys wear power armor, you know, like these guys are strong. That is long gone. Like, power armor is literally shit right now. I actually think like Space Marines power armor compared to some of the other factions is a bit of a joke, because power armor has no invulnerable component to it, and like, you know, a lot of these other factions always like they'll rock like a weaker armor save, but they'll have a 5-up in Vun, or they'll rock a weaker armor save and have a 6-up in Vun. And I actually think the Vun part is like, kind of missing from power armor for Space Marines. So I don't like Vanguard veterans with lightning claws too tight. Like, I don't like them with 2 lightning claws because I don't think they're survivable. And I know that you can put like a few shields into the squad and then have like a bunch of guys with double lightning claw, but I think that the advantage you get from that 1 extra claw, which is just like 1 extra attack per model, means that the squad just dies that much more fast. And 9th edition is all about holding objectives and keeping your guys alive and stuff like that. So for me, it just doesn't quite synergize, I think, the way I would like it to. Why in the world would you not use that tank more? It did a lot of work, it's awesome. I love the tank, Martin. I love the Falchion, and I've played 9 games with it in 9th edition now, and I've won all of them. Like, it is undefeated in 9th edition. Here's the thing though, like, when I was running it when I just started this channel, so at the beginning of 9th edition, as with a lot of Blood Angels players, I was struggling to get wins. I was running like a melee army, like everybody used to run in 8th edition, and it just wasn't really working, it wasn't clicking. And even now, I don't, like, if I go full melee, I don't know if I'm firing or clicking that army super well. So I run my balanced army, right? Like a little bit of shooting, a little bit of melee, sort of 500 points of shooting, I guess, in my Blood Angels army seems to be the sweet spot. And when I was running the Falchion, as much as I was enjoying it and as much as it was winning every game, I had a few people comment on the channel saying like, hey, could you actually do battle reports with units that everybody has, right? Because like not everybody owns a 200-pound super heavy tank. Because they are. I think the Falchion was like, I think when I bought it, it was about $175, right? It's, you know, the same price as like three Land Raiders or something, you know? So like, yeah, not many people had it. And I think at that point I was also running Leviathans, and like, I kind of just made a conscious decision to try and run army lists that didn't use any Forge World stuff for a little while. And that's when I found sort of like my double Redemptor list. Started winning a lot of games, won 11 games in a row. Yeah, if the music's ever too loud, Jeff, just tell me. I turn it down. It's supposed to just be background, so when I run out of things to say, there's a little bit of music. I haven't 100% been able to find out mechanically if Blood Angels have an Astreus. I imagine they would, but they don't always. The Astreus is quite a new tank, right? I think they released it like maybe like 2018 or 2019, right? Like, it hasn't been around for a huge amount of years, so they probably just haven't updated any lore. They probably haven't written any lore to say that if Blood Angels own one or not, right? How about double Lightning Claw Assault Terminators or Hammers and Shields? I ran some of those this week, and I try and mix them. I like hammers because the survivability they give, but they are quite expensive. So I think if you're gonna run Assault Terminators, I'd probably run like 3 and 2. I'd probably give the Sergeant the Thunderhammer, and then have like 2 others with Thunderhammers and 2 others with Lightning Claws. I like double Lightning Claws on a Terminator a lot more than I like double Lightning Claws on a Vanguard veteran, because the Terminator's still got that 2-up save and he's still survivable, I guess, whereas like I feel like a Vanguard veteran with 2 Lightning Claws isn't survivable. But hey, that's just my opinion, you know? If you run double Lightning Claws and you feel like you get great value out of it every game, like, don't let me put you off. The music maybe a click or two too loud. All right. There we go. Music down again. Maybe we go down a tiny bit more. I definitely don't want people to be tuning out because the music's... maybe I need to get some new stream... maybe I need to get some new music. Double Lightning Claw Vanguard vets die really, really fast. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think that they die too fast to be an effective unit. Now you look at someone who knows a thing or two about Goblin Green bases. Good evening, Affection Warlock. How you doing? I'm not sure we've met. Maybe we've met. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. These guys here, if you'd been on the stream at the beginning of the stream, you'd have seen some Goblin Green bases that I've just put these guys on base extenders this week and filled in the gap with green stuff, and then I'm changing these guys from the old Goblin Green that I have to... I use oh, what's the paint I use now? It's called Armageddon Dust. Yeah, I use the Citadel texture paint for the bases these days. And I quite like the Armageddon Dust. It's quite an easy paint to use, and I think it gives a pretty decent... I know some people like to put like Blood Angels onto red bases, but my Blood Angels are like quite vibrantly red. Like I use I don't use Mephiston Red as my base coats. I use Evil Sun Scarlet because I think Evil Sun Scarlet is more like, you know, the speaking of like old paints and stuff. So there used to be a paint called Blood Red before they renamed all their paints. I think they renamed all the paints in like 7th or 8th edition. So there's a paint called Blood Red. Maybe they named it before. They renamed them before that. But when I left the hobby in like 5th edition, came back in at the beginning of 8th, and I already had a lot of guys painted with quote unquote Blood Red, a paint that didn't exist anymore, and I had to try and match, I had to try and match Blood Red to, and I think Blood Red is closer to Evil Sun Scarlet. Are you going to try suppressors? Dude, I want to try suppressors. Look at... Let me show you. I was going to be painting suppressors on this stream. Look, I had this one that was like half-ish done. So he was like going to be a Death Company suppressor. I was going to paint them on the stream, but I realised that I've put the flight stands into a box that I've already packed away for moving home. So I need to go and find the box. But yeah, I really want to try suppressors. This guy needs quite a lot of work. It looks like he's just got one coat of some of his base colours on here. And some of the edge highlighting is definitely need tidied up. I'm pretty rough when I do edge highlighting, then I try and come back and neaten it all up. This definitely... I think I did this guy like ages ago now, probably like 2 years ago, so just looking at him now just makes me... like I just want to stop what I'm doing on this other model and clean this guy up, because like, wow, some of his stuff is rough. But yeah, no, I definitely want to paint some suppressors. And sooner rather than later, because... So in the tournament that I went to, and I'm going to talk about this in the video that I'm going to put out this week, on one flank I had a Primaris Chaplain on a bike along with 6 Vanguard Vets. 5 of them had Lightning Claws and Storm Shields. Sergeant had a Thunderhammer and Storm Shield, right? So this was my strategy pretty much every game. On one flank, I was going to have these 7 units, right? The Chaplain on the bike, plus the Vanguard Veterans. That was my strategy for the tournament, right? Thank you for reminding me suppressors exist. Yeah, and the suppressors did get buffed, right? They used to just get like 6 autocannon shots. They now get 9 per turn. So they did each suppressor gets an additional shot in 9th edition from where they were in 8th edition. So they are a little bit better than they were. I tried them a couple of times in 8th, I wasn't so impressed with them. I don't know if I've tried them in 9th, but people keep talking to me about them, so we're going to try them. But anyway, it's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to have to go and find these flight stands in a storage crate that's like literally overflowing with crap from the house. But anyway, my thought behind it was that 5 Terminator, well, the chaplain on a bike plus the 5 Vanguard veterans was like 190 points, something like that. It might not have been quite that, but it was 290 points was what I had. So basically, I need to try and swap that out for 290 points of something that I think is going to be better on the flank. And in the first game that we played, like, was it a week ago, 2 weeks ago, against the Necrons, we tried just 7 Terminators on that flank. And the 7 Terminators, they did fine. They didn't do anything special. They went and killed some Scarabs. They shot their Cyclone missile launchers at some warriors and stuff. I mean, they're Terminators, they're slow, they do okay, right? But my thought was, why go with 7 Terminators? Because the Cyclone missile was 25 points, and Terminators are 38 points per model. So like 2 Terminators plus a Cyclone missile launcher is 100 points. So why not just go with 5 Terminators, and then take a squad of suppressors? And that gives you 1 more unit for actions. Suppressors also have that nice 48-inch range. Chaplain on the bike is almost an auto-include. He's so strong. He is and he isn't. He is if you're going to take Wiserator. If you don't take Wiserator, your litanies don't go off when you want them to. And I don't know if I've lost a couple of games, but like I've definitely felt hurt by his litanies failing at key points. So like if you don't take Wiserator and you fail your litanies, then he could be kind of annoying. So I guess the question is, like, if you're not taking Wiserator, is he still super worth it? Because I wasn't. In both games, I had my chaplain. I didn't take Wiserator. So yeah, I suppose I'm figuring it all out. But I think rather than take 7 Terminators with a Cyclone missile launcher, I might just take 5 Terminators, bolters, chain fist, sorry, obviously like a power sword on the sergeant, and then let me think, 3 suppressors, right? And painting the rims of the base is so satisfying. Yes, it very much is satisfying, isn't it? It's satisfying even more when it's the end of the model, right? Like you've based them, you've primed them, they're completely painted, and now you're like, I'm just going to paint the base rims. It's like the most satisfying thing in the world. In a fun game, I negated all Overwatch for charging units in conjunction with the Whirlwind. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. I was thinking of the suppressors more as a damage dealing unit in like a action based unit. You know, they can perform secondaries for me. But you are right. They do just turn off all Overwatch against infantry as well, which I guess can in some matchups that's going to be value. What's all this suppressor chat? The chat is that I want to run suppressors in my next tournament, I think, Highland Phoenix. I've got a lot to do on this squad of 3, but I want to try them. I was going to be painting them tonight, but I've already packed a damn flight stand, so I'm going to have to go and find the flight stands. I don't know if you can probably see there's big boxes behind me. I'm goading John into using them. You know, you goaded me into using Inceptors, I guess, Highland Phoenix, and Reziel, and I was like a stone's throw away from going 5-0 at that tournament using Inceptors. And Inceptors are like one of the things that like I said, they were one of my MVPs. I love them. I'd use them again. They're pretty much a staple part of my army list now, the Inceptors. Like, they have all but replaced my Death Company. Like, I just don't run Death Company anymore. That's why I painted one of the Redemptor's Death Company colours, because I feel like we needed to represent the Death Company, because I'm sad that we don't have anything in the list that's Death Company. Games Workshop just need to hurry up and buff the Death Company, I think. You need washes and hazard stripes. Yeah, I'm going to be doing washes and I'm going to be doing hazard stripes. I'd say that these Terminators are honestly about 10% painted. Maybe that's harsh. Maybe 20%. But like I start with just base colors. So like all I'm doing at the moment is base colors. And I use Dawnstone as a base color for a lot of different colors. So yeah, I'll do my base colors. I will do hazard stripes on there. I will wash these entire models as well. I always wash, like I do basically like a pin / recess wash on all my Blood Angels models with Agrax Earthshade, and then after I've done that, I'll touch up all the details again, or all the high level pieces to like brighten them up and stuff. So yeah, I'm very, very slow at painting. And I make a lot of mistakes, so I'll go back and forth a lot as well. These old metal models are pretty hard as well, because you tend to put the paint on them and then it just tends to, like, in certain places, like around the face here, like it just comes off. Like these guys have been undercoated, but yeah, I don't. There's something that probably one of the reasons they don't do metal so much is like the paint just doesn't adhere to them as well, right? And in fact, Inceptors basically make suppressors superfluxus. I think they have different roles. I think if I was playing suppressors, I'd start them on the board, and I'd start them basically on my table edge, like 48 inches away, and just start by maybe shooting and performing an action or something. And then maybe I end up getting on a backfield objective, or maybe upon Wings of Fire somewhere to get another objective. Like, I don't think you need to commit the suppressors. You know, like, they could stay pretty far away, potentially even out of return fire range. Because, like, not that many guns now have 48-inch range, right? Like, missile launchers have 48 range, but like if the enemy are going to shoot their missile launchers at a squad of suppressors, you're probably like, yeah, that's fine. You know, like the enemy want to be shooting their missile launchers or whatever, las cannons at something that's going to be a bit more scary than a squad of suppressors, I would have thought. Plus, suppressors are probably pretty good against Drukhari, right? Auto cannons against those raiders, push them straight onto their invulnerable save. 48 inches away. Again, if the enemy want to shoot your suppressors with their dark lances, you're like, yeah, sure, shoot them with the dark lances. Could you mastercraft the suppressor sergeant gun? I mean, you could. I wait when GW would nerf or kill Blade Guard. After it, we would not have any other non-nerfed Elite Primaris unit, I guess. I don't think they'll nerf Blade Guard, and the reason I don't think they'll nerf them is they're not that great for other chapters. I mean, they're pretty great for us because of Red Thirst, but like, for example, like I see Ultramarine players still run Blade Guard, and like I don't think that they're that strong for Ultramarines, because, you know, against other infantry they typically just wound on 3s. Against Death Guard they only wound on 4s. Like, against Death Guard, they're just 1 damage with their swords. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they'll nerf Blade Guard. I could be wrong though. I didn't think they'd nerf Sanguinary Guard, and they managed to do that, didn't they? So. I hope they scale up the Terminators to the size of Aggressors. White Scars? I don't know. Are they that strong for White Scars? They're still just strength 5, right? But yeah, no, I think if I knew, I'm not going to be able to find the flight stands before Monday, but like if I'd found the flight stands before Monday, I would run suppressors this Monday. Actually, do you know what? If Colin has Ultramarine and Scepters in the office where we play our live game on Monday night, I might just proxy those as suppressors, like a squad of Ultramarine and Scepters or something. I don't really like proxying stuff on stream though, so maybe that's just a pipe dream for like next week. I'll run one more game with the Terminators because I didn't mind the Terminators and I want to see what they can actually do. So maybe I'll run one more game with Terminators and then we'll try a smaller squad of Terminators and a squad of suppressors. It would be cool to make suppressors work as well because they are kind of one of the few Primaris units that you would think would synergize with us because of the anti-Overwatch mechanic, right? Probably good for Black Templars, seeing they have a big old load of swords. Yeah, I mean, what is I'm out of touch with Black Templars. What's their where the hell did I put that paint? I'm literally sitting here by myself. Where could I have put it? All right, here. What's Black Templar's equivalent of the Red First? Like, what is their super doctrine? I literally have only played Black Templars once. Inceptors are better for Blood Angels. The suppressors are decent for Ultramarines. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. I think Inceptors work really well for Blood Angels, and I think that suppressors could work in certain situations as long as you have a defined purpose for them on the board and you know exactly what you're trying to do with them. And I think in my list I kind of know that because I've been working towards a list. I guess I've been working towards a list for a while, I guess. It's the only real way to put it. So I feel like I do have a defined purpose for them. I do know exactly what I want them to be doing. So if I have that defined purpose, then I think you can make suppressors work. But I think I don't know. Like I think going to a tournament, even if you don't think you're ready to go to a tournament, I think going to a tournament is a great learning experience because I'm not sure I felt like I was 100% ready. But after coming back from the tournament, you know, you meet a lot of people, you play some really, really tough games and you just learn a lot. And like, I feel like I learned an awful lot maybe. I don't rate autocannons much. It's not a great profile in the modern meta. Yeah, I mean it's not a great profile, but 9 autocannons for 100 points is actually not horrific. Like that's not a terrible ratio of autocannon shots, I guess, for the points. And I think it's the range and the fact that they can perform actions is the thing that I'm liking the sound of the most. But who knows? You know, maybe we run the suppressors couple of times and we just get no value out of them. I've definitely run them before because when you move the suppressors and they only hit on 4s, that's pretty, you know, that's pretty rough. But they did get extra shots now here in the new, so maybe those extra shots make up for it. I guess we'll see. Templars used to have an auto wounding 6s during assault doctrine, but it's been removed. I bet we get a new version when our codex drops. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought that it would have been in the Space Marine Codex. Because I thought like the Space Marine Codex for 9th edition had all those super doctrines, and that was kind of what they were going to be for this edition, I guess. I'm going to rim these guys' feet black in a minute, I think. I always like to rim their feet because I feel like it separates them from the base quite a bit. Quite a few chips on these old metal models though as well. Doesn't help me when I throw them down on the ground. Dave, do you think we might see an army of renowned in a Tyranids update, such as the defensive Baal? Primaris Hellbrick is a good sign for Blood Angels in the future, but Sanguinary Guard and no defensive stratagems is rough. Primaris Hellbrick, I think, is a good sign, right? Because, like, surely it's only a matter of time before we get Primaris Dante or another character. I think someone said on Reddit that like every other chapter master now is Primaris. Obviously Blood Angels got Primaris Mephiston this time round, but part of that was maybe a bit to do with lore as well, right? Like if you actually read the book, like Dante wanted to go through the Rubicon, but like they wouldn't let him, and they made Mephiston do it first. So Primaris Hellbrick is a positive thing, I think. Something that we can hopefully, hopefully we can see the Primaris Dante before too long, or a Primaris Chapter Master. It doesn't necessarily need to be Dante, just a strong Primaris Chapter Master, I guess. And do I think we'd see an army of renowned? I don't know if we'll see an army of renowned. What I will say about that though is, I do think our rules are kind of, they're not as, like, because we were one of the first codexes in 9th edition, our rules aren't probably as strong as some of the other chapters. Or even some of the Xenos stuff, right? Like, we just don't have the strongest rule set right now, so maybe we'll see an army of renowned, or maybe we'll see something a bit like the Psychic Awakening we saw in that last edition, where, like, we might just get some new abilities. Because I think last edition we got Savage Echoes, right? That was like our mid-edition ability. Why don't I use a painting handle? I have a painting handle. Good day from Australia. Yeah, nice to see you, Dave. I have a painting handle. I can't use it because just off camera I have this magnifying glass with a light in it. And you'll see that this basically gives me a... Here's the model. Here's the model after the magnify. So it's a 300% magnify I've got on this, and it does mean that I end up sometimes painting details you typically maybe don't see very well. So it's probably why I spend too long on the models, because I'm painting details that without the magnifying glass I wouldn't be able to see, or your naked eye wouldn't really be able to see all that well. But what it means is if I use my painting handle, I just bash it into this magnifying glass all the time. So it's just a real pain. To be honest, I prefer Mephiston to Dante. Yeah, do you know what? I prefer Mephiston, I think. But the problem with Mephiston right now is he has only the Blood Angel psychic powers. Like, if Mephiston could take psychic powers from the Librarius discipline, and like he could have Null Zone and stuff, then I think Mephiston is like way better. Because the powers that you get from Sanguinius discipline basically make you into a beat stick character, right? And what I mean by beat stick character is a character that's going to be like really strong in melee. Well, beat stick characters don't really, like with the changes in 9th edition, it's the reason beat stick characters worked in like 8th edition, for example, was like we had a stratagem that can give you like D3 additional attacks. So I mean, Mephiston had what, like 5 attacks or 6 attacks, I guess. You get an additional D3, you get another D3 from like a psychic power, putting you up to about 10, and then you could pay 2 CP to fight again. So because you sort of lose the... When we lost the ability to make our characters fight again, I guess, that's sort of... I guess in a way, sort of nerfed the Blood Angel psychic powers, because they were all about making your character super strong in combat, or the few that people typically chose. So I really don't know how you run Mephiston right now. I don't see any competitive Blood Angels lists including Mephiston, like none, zero. You know, we get submissions every week on the channel, and none of them ever include Mephiston, pretty much. Like, he just doesn't feature. Hey, greetings from Australia. Oh, we got more people from Australia waking up, I guess. Good morning to Australia. How are things in Australia with COVID and all that? Is everything good, or... Because I was supposed to visit family in Australia right before, like... I was supposed to visit them in November last year, but I guess because of COVID, we had to cancel everything. But being with the family being in Australia, I guess we don't speak to them as much as we probably should, but it's just a... It's not that we don't want to speak to them, it's just a distance thing, I guess, you know? Mephiston is nowhere near as powerful in melee as he should be. Well, yeah, that's just the thing, right? Like, Mephiston isn't as good as he once was. I like the Librarian Dreadnought, Kim, but... The Librarian Dreadnought has a problem in that, in my opinion, he has a problem, and his problem is his weapon skill. You need to bring something to buff his weapon skill, because his weapon skill is kind of poor. I almost always use Mephiston. Fair enough, somebody running Mephiston. The thing is, like, do you run another Psyker? Like, and if you do or if you don't, like, what happens when you play against Mortarion, right? Because, like, I feel like his Blood Angels, if you want to kill Mortarion, you need Null Zone. Like, how... I don't know how you kill Mortarion without Null Zone as Blood Angels. Short of, like, literally throwing everything at him and keeping... and crossing your fingers, I guess. And I typically don't like to just throw things to their death and cross my fingers. But yeah, maybe next Saturday night then we'll be painting some suppressors. I'll try and find the flight stands. I'm feeling like a complete idiot for packing them away. I knew that I wanted to try and run suppressors as well, because I was like, maybe I'm going to try and run those suppressors. It's just those 3 little plasticky flight bits. I have them all in the box for, like, I think it's my Shadow Spear box. Yeah, and I think I packed that, like... I maybe packed it on Friday, and since Friday I've put like 20 more boxes into self-storage. So it literally could be anywhere. How annoying. What's up? Tuning in on my lunch break. Time zones are complicated. It's 11 PM here at night. But thanks for tuning in. I hope you're having a good evening. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview yesterday with Jack. And you managed to get some takeaways from it. Jack was a nice guy. I enjoyed the interview. We definitely differ a little bit on how we think Blood Angels should be played right now. But I think it can also be based maybe a little bit on skill cap, right? Like, it's just a very, very, very high skill cap to try and do full melee with Blood Angels right now. Jack explained how he handled Mortarion with you. Yeah, you're right. You just angel sacrificed against him with the chaplain multiple times, right? Seems a little bit risky, right? Like that chaplain, surely Mortarion hits and wounds him on 2s. So you're gonna have to make a lot of saves. You can only use Armor Indomitus like one time or for one round of combat as well, so I feel like Armor Indomitus, you kind of probably going to have to use it that very first round of combat. Like I said, he's probably going to hit and wound you on 2s. And Mortarion's... Isn't Mortarion's Scythe like D3 plus 3? So he only needs to get like 1 or 2 of them... Well, he needs to get 2 of them through and you're dead. Seems like a risky play to me. I'd much rather have Null Zone and try and take him out in a single turn. There's a Delta outbreak here in Sydney and most eastern states, so stay home orders, but in about a month we'll hit 70% double dose. Until then, no Warhammer. Fair enough. Yeah, in Scotland I think we're about to hit like 70 or 80% double dose, and we're basically at a point where, yeah, we've got the Delta strain, but they're starting to open everything back up, I guess. But we've had most things open now for like probably like a month, and the cases are finally starting to drop down. So fingers crossed we're finally coming out the other side, the end of COVID or whatever you want to call it, and that'll be great, because what a nightmare that's been the last 18 months or something. Yeah, he did say that the army definitely punishes mistakes, didn't he? Yeah, it's a tricky one, Rezio. I'm not ready to take the jump to full melee, one of the things about his full melee army is like he knew what the terrain was going to be before, like GW had announced what the terrain was going to be for the event, so he kind of knew what he was getting. If maybe you don't know what that terrain is, and you know, the tournament I was just at, every round of games there was like one table that was like what they call medium terrain, heavy terrain, and then low terrain. So like if you got the low terrain table as Blood Angels and your full melee army, that can be pretty difficult to get to grind out the win, I guess. Laughs in the US and especially the South. What is a lockdown? Yeah, it's crazy. Like Scotland, we've been pretty stringent on our lockdowns, but I mean, for a long time we literally had like one new case a day sort of nonsense going on, and in the country or the area that I live in Scotland, COVID has been like pretty low throughout the pandemic. You know, so yeah, it's what it is, I guess. Every country's decided to do their own thing, but for apparently vaccine uptake in Scotland has been really high as well. We still get some people like, you know, saying that vaccines are bad for you, etc. But like, you know, I guess getting COVID is pretty bad for you anyway. So, you know, like, yeah, vaccines are maybe bad for you, but I think getting COVID is probably worse than getting the vaccine in most situations. I had a friend that was double vaccinated and he got COVID and it like kicked his ass, man. Like absolutely kicked his ass. Like, he isolated for like 10 days after he got it, and he was still feeling like so crap after like 10 days. Like he just sort of like did an extra week of isolation basically, because like he was feeling that crap, And when we saw him, so like he'd had COVID, like he'd had 2 vaccinations and he'd had COVID for like 17 days, and like he was like he just couldn't even stop coughing. When we heard him on the phone, like he was like, it honestly sounded like he was dying. It was so bad, and he'd been double vaccinated. So we like afterwards, and the guy, you know, he's a young guy, like, and he's healthy. He goes running. You know, like when I actually used to go running with him from time to time, and like he could run more than I could run. So he's maybe not as healthy at the moment because he hasn't been doing anything for a couple of years, but like he was very healthy. And you know, we were having a conversation basically saying like, so I was asking him like, so how bad do you think it would have been if you hadn't had any vaccines? And he was like, I don't even know, because it was absolutely horrific and I'd had both. So yeah, it's a tough one, I guess. No one wants to be locked down though, that's for sure, right? Especially not 18 months into the damn thing. One-dimensional or not, that's how something performs at high levels. It's hard to argue the balance of Blood Angels lists have done anything impressive. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Junior is in the closet. Junior runs just a bunch of heavy melta rifle eradicators though, right? So it's just like a Blood Angels list, but with like 6 heavy melta rifle eradicators, I think? Or it's been a little while since I looked at one of Junior's lists, but I'm sure maybe it wasn't. I'm sure it was just basically a Blood Angels list with eradicators, right? But I mean, eradicators, like if you look at them if you look at eradicators point for point, they're literally the most damaging unit Space Marines have point for point, I think, or at least the most damaging shooting unit that we have point for point. So like he's just, and I guess that's why. You know, I guess that's why my list did quite well with Redemptors. If you look at Redemptors, point for point, they are a very, you know, they're very good at surviving because they have 13 wounds and Duty Eternal. They're very good at killing because they have those flat 3 plasma damage cannons. And, you know, paired with like a Tech Marine or Chapter Master rerolls, they're just very valuable in that sense as well. So, I guess although Blood Angels although Blood Angels armies that are balanced haven't done all that much, maybe at tournaments, I'm not sure that many people have been taking them, because, well, when we talk over the lists, if we talk over my tournament experience next week, I was literally a dice throw, Reziel, from going 5-0 at that tournament, like 1 or 2 dice throws, and I know. Typically, I don't like to blame the dice, but I shot my entire army, like literally my entire army, everything in the army, into one raider in turn 1, and I had like my Tech Marine with his, you know, making one of the Redemptors hit on 2s, and I had my Chapter Master there giving the other Redemptor full rerolls, and my whole Sanguinary Guard there as well, so that like, because the plan was that, you know, we were going to open up this one raider, and we left it with 1 damn wound. If I could make a Blood Angels, I had COVID in January with the vaccine, was readily available. My experience may vary from others. How were you then? You fine? If I could make a Blood Angels combat patrol box, it would probably include 1 squad of Inceptors, thanks to Reziel. It would include a Redemptor Dreadnought, because I love them. It would include 5 Sanguinary Guard, because you can't really have a really great top level Blood Angels list, I think, without Sanguinary Guard. And then it would also have, let's go with, it would need to be a Librarian with a jump pack. Because I think that mobile Librarian with a jump pack provides a hell of a lot of value for Blood Angels. I think used right, he's one of the best things that you can add to your army. I know some people would probably say Chaplain on a bike is similar, and I don't disagree with that. I think my problem with the Chaplain on a bike is we're now moving into this meta where we have like Thousand Suns and Grey Knights doing ridiculous amounts of mortal wounds, and I guess a Librarian and a Jump Pack helps you a little bit against those. Probably not enough. But I also think the threat of Null Zone is pretty brilliant. I used Null Zone in the tournament. I'm going to talk about that as well next week. Hey Gitley, it's been a little while. How you doing, brother? I think you could have done 5-0. Yeah, well, when we talk about the last game against the Drukhari that I lost, and I've got pictures from the game, and basically in turn 5, because I went second, I was just at a point where like I was starting to table him. Like if the game, you know, back in the day when you roll a d6 and it was like if you roll a 4+, the game goes on for like turn 6, and then if you roll another, I think it was a 5+, the game goes on for turn 7. Like if this was a previous edition where you potentially play 6 turns, if we got to play that 6th turn, I think like he's basically on the ropes and I'm going to swing the game back and I'm going to win. I just had some. They weren't. I was going to say they're costly mistakes. They weren't. I don't even know if they were mistakes. I failed like a 5-inch charge that was important that needed to be made at the worst time, and also I left this one raider with 1 wound after re-rolling my number of plasma cannon shots from a 1 into a 1 with a CP. So. You can't win all the games, and I don't like to blame the dice, but that game the dice were against me. I also had like a bunch of saves to make on my Vanguard. Very like turn 1, every roll went against me. I even said to my opponent, I was like he saved everything and he hit everything in turn 1, and it was just like sometimes if that happens like later in the game it's not a big issue, but if it happens all in turn 1, and I think it was maybe I had a little bit of luck earlier in the day or something, and like it was basically like karma coming back to haunt me, because I did like right now at the London Grand Tournament, the guy who captains Team Scotland, I think is like he's sitting really, really high up in position, and I beat him in my first game, and I think he thought I was lucky. At the time I didn't feel like I was lucky. My sister got COVID and lost her sense of smell for months afterwards. As someone who owns more bottles of perfume than individual 40k models, that would make life horrible. Okay. I'm good, thanks. Started a new job, been busy at the LGT this weekend. Currently 2-1 with a narrow loss to Custodes and a big win versus Drukhari and Thousand Suns. Oh, congratulations. So did you manage to find Andrew and Colin from Plastic Crackheads? Because they're at the LGT, Gitley. Andrew went 3-0 with that broken orc list on day 1 that we beat last week. I messaged him and said, so if you win the London Grand Tournament with that broken orc list, does that mean that actually I'm the champion because I just beat you with that list last week? But yeah, congrats on going 2-1 on day 1. That's pretty cool. 100 Scutari in the morning, though. And are you running Blood Angels at the LGT? And how was the terrain at that tournament? Is it quite are the maps quite dense, or is it quite light? How have you found it? change the channel name to Blood Angels Champion. Yeah, I guess we could, Brett. I mean, that would definitely rile up some people. Terrain is okay, no more, no less. I'll maybe try and get to the LGT next year. We'll see. It just depends on where we are with this next baby we've got coming. Is the kid going to be given a Blood Angel's middle name? Probably not, because my wife would not be up for it, basically. But hopefully the kid will enjoy Warhammer at some point in the future. I already got a girl, this one's a boy, so I think this will be good. I mean, like, if my little girl wants to check out Warhammer, great, but like, I'm not going to be... I imagine girls probably have different priorities in life than Warhammer. The little boy, on the other hand, though, like, I tell you, as a 12-year-old kid, I bloody loved Warhammer, and if my dad had been into it, I would have probably loved that even more, because I would have got more models than I did. Dante would be a good name. You could always go with Lewis, right, as well, because Lewis was his name before he became Dante, and that would sort of be secretly be is like secret Dante almost, right? I don't know. I don't think it would fly with my wife. Ah. Oh, that was ugly. What's your opinion on Furiosa with blood claws? I don't know if I rate the blood talons all that much. We were talking about this the other night. I said the other night, it was probably a month ago at this point. Might even be longer than a month ago, but right. And I guess my issue is... If you think about it, the Furiosa fists are like 2 times strength, right? So like those little chicken dreadnoughts are strength 6, I believe. So if they're more than 6, even better, but I'm sure they're strength 6. So 2 times strength gives you strength 12 and then +1 to wound. So strength 12 with +1 to wound, you're pretty much going to wound on 2s anyway, right? So you're paying 10 points for the... You're paying 10 points for the blood talons. And what are you actually getting? You're going to hit on strength 10 rather than strength 12. You're going to lose some AP. You're going to gain a reroll on the wound, but you're going to be wounding on 2s anyway, right? So you're going to get a huge amount of reroll value. You're paying 10 points to reroll your 1s and lose some AP. So like, at that point, I feel like you'd probably spend those 10 points elsewhere, better maybe, and just wounding on 2s is fine for most part, right? Like, yeah, sure, you get a shitty roll every now and again, but like, I just wonder if I'm not infallible. I just wonder if there's a better way to spend those 10 points than spend them, like, because I have a Death Company Dreadnought that has blood talons, you know, like you're talking about here. But like, I actually want to buy like a new Death Company Dreadnought and just give him the Furiosa fists because that exact reason. Like, I think wounding on 2s with like 5 attacks is enough. I don't think you get a huge amount of value by having the ability to reroll the 1s. I mean, it's valuable, sure. Is it 10 points valuable? And maybe if it was just the reroll of the 1s, but you also lose some AP. So earlier in the game, you're more likely the enemy are going to get to make a save. So your extra rerolls is going to be offset by the fact that the enemy can now save against your attacks. So like, I would rather just keep the fists, I think. I'm sure someone will disagree with me on chat. My list is the Chapter Master on the bike, the Primaris Master of Sanctity on the bike, the Jump Sanguinary Priest, the Jump Librarian, 2x5 Infiltrators, 5+5+4 Sanguinary Guard, 5 Death Company with 3 hammers, 10 Vanguard Vets, I assume all with Lightning Claws, and then 3 attack bikes, and 2x2 Company Veterans. Sounds like a pretty cool list. Quite a lot of Calistaris would be great for a middle name, man. Yeah, I mean, it would be if my wife wouldn't buy it, man. Tabled my first opponent in a 500 point game yesterday. It was dope. Congrats, Miguel. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Yeah, I mean, Gitley, maybe if you have an hour tonight, then watch the interview that we did yesterday with Jack. Maybe it gives you some last minute tips to push on and have a good result on day 2. Yeah, I mean, he plays a list that's very similar to yours, I guess, like the 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard, the 5 Death Company with the hammers, the 10 Vanguard Vets. He runs Dante rather than the Chapter Master on a bike, but I mean, there's not a huge amount of difference between the two of them. Do Blood Angels have advance, extra charge or advance? We get +1 to all our charge rolls and +1 to all our advanced rolls, but we cannot advance and charge, if that's the question. Lucky Jim. But yeah, so I'm sure you guys have heard me talk. So I'm moving home in like 3 weeks' time. So that week that I'm moving home, content on this channel, there's probably not going to be any live stream that weekend, and there probably won't be a game on the Monday night. So like that week there'll just be a little bit of a drought. I don't really have much choice. I might try and I might try, assuming that I have any time and I'm not packing my house to the last minute, which is a very distinct possibility. Because apparently I have a lot of stuff. I will try and have some sort of video ready for the week that I'm moving home. But yeah, if there's no content for like a few days or a week, I'll put up a community post. And I guess like my responses on Reddit will be pretty slim as well. But yeah, if there's no content for like a week, I'll try and make sure there's something. But yeah, it's gonna be tricky because my wife is. Because she's pregnant, like, moving home is literally a nightmare because I have to move everything myself. So, like, today I literally had to move, like, 20 boxes into self-storage myself, which is fun. I'm hoping that these yellow chain fists are going to look pretty cool when they're done, and they're going to intimidate and scare some people, you know that? You can always make a bloopers and funny error video. What's the game this Monday? I think I'm playing Kev on Eldar, and I think he's bringing a super heavy tank. Because I said to him, what are you bringing? And he says, do you want to bring your super heavy tank again? And I said, actually, I don't want to bring my super heavy tank. As much as I enjoyed the game, as much as I enjoyed beating Andrew with him, I want to keep playing with a list that I want to take to this next tournament. If the orc buggies aren't nerfed before the next tournament, I will take my falchion though, I guess. Just so that if I run into Andrew, I can beat him. But yeah, no, I want to be playing the tournament list that I was playing. And that's why I'm painting Terminators, because I want to be trying the Terminators into that list over the Vanguard Veterans and see how it does. But if he brings a super heavy tank, it'll be a good test for the list, I guess. Because I've not fought, like... Do you know what? I did fight a list that had like the 2 knights. And one of the knights had like 28 wounds, I think, and the other had like 26. And one of the knights had like a 4-up in Van save. So... Do you know what? It'll be good to fight against a list that's like... If it's got a super heavy tank in it, then it'll let me know if my list can cope with it or what. So that should be a fun game. Is clear primer the way to go? I use white primer, but I mean, like, a lot of people use grey. Some people use Mephiston red. I think it just depends on what. Possibly just depends on what paints you're using or what colors you want to, you know, like if your model, if you're going to start most of your models from a red base of Mephiston red, then you may as well just spray red, because if you don't spray red, you're just going to waste time like putting other colors down and then essentially going ahead and painting red when you could have just sprayed it. So, yeah, I mean. Wraithbone, yeah, those new. How many Terminators are going to run? 7 for now, in one squad with a Cyclone missile launcher and a bunch of chain fists. If I had 6 models with chain fists, I would just run all chain fists, but I don't. I think I've got 4 here with chain fists, 2 with power fists, and obviously the sergeant has to take the power sword. So that's probably what we're going to run, but in the very near future, I want to try dropping. I want to try dropping 2 Terminators plus the Cyclone missile launcher for a squad of suppressors. And it might be madness. It might do nothing. It might be the worst idea ever. But I've got like 8 weeks till this next tournament, so I'm going to try a few different things. And yeah, I mean, this tournament's much more local, so I really want to finish somewhere in it, like and I I feel like I feel like my play and my decision making in the last few weeks has been like the best it's ever been. Like maybe I felt like I was in a bit of a groove after this tournament, or I got into a groove with the tournament, and like I guess I've just played enough. Yeah, so I'm feeling confident in terms of like my play and my decision making. So it's just a case of trying to get the army list the best it can be, because we know that Blood Angels we aren't in the strongest place ever. So we need to, we need to be using, and I guess this is what someone said on one of the comments this week. They were like, I think someone said like, Blood Angels commanders just using the Space Marine units that are the strongest right now, and I was like, yeah, well, what else do you want me to use, right? You want me to use weak units? Like, of course I'm going to use strong units, like Redemptors, like the Librarian with Null Zone. These are strong Space Marine units, but we're 100% allowed to use them. So why would I not use them? I think it would be interesting to see Knights on stream. Yeah, do you know what? The only person that's got Knights locally is Andrew. Thoughts on the Cyclone being worth it? I mean, the reason to take the Cyclone is into Dakari Highland, because it gives us a chance to just kill a raider from full health. They're never going to be able to kill all the Terminators in a single turn, so every turn you're just going to shoot it at the Raider and cross your fingers that the Raider has a 4-up save, right? So like the missiles basically push it straight onto its invulnerable save. Are those 3rd edition Terminators? Yes, some of these are really old metal Terminators, and they're horrendous. They kind of look, I was going to say, they kind of look kind of bad, I guess, and the metal quality is kind of terrible as well. So I've had these guys probably for the best part of 20 years, and it's kind of sad that they've never been painted. So it is expensive at 25 points. You're 100% right, and if the Terminators move, it's -1 to hit, which is also not great. But we ran Assault Cannon on Monday night. I think when I was looking at the list, I can either have 8 Terminators and no special weapon, or I can have yeah, I think it was that. It was 8 Terminators and no special weapon, or like 7 Terminators, Assault Cannon, or a Cyclone missile launcher. And the Cyclone can also have some usage, like if we end up playing against a horde-based list, right? Because the Cyclone missile launcher can fire frag missiles. So if we do end up against a horde-based list, we can get some value out of the Cyclone. So we'll see. I'm not sold on the Cyclone. That's why I wanted to try the suppressor idea. And the suppressor give you an extra unit for an extra unit that can do secondaries and upon Wings of Fire, right? Suppressors are core, I think. I'd be very surprised if they weren't, actually. So yeah, we'll see. We'll probably try the 7 Terminators one more time this week, and then try suppressors next week. Should AdMech not use good AdMech units because they're not Rayas and not Mars? Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah, it's I already said a couple of times in a couple of streams that if you want to play all Blood Angels melee lists in 9th edition, you either need, I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. If you're going to be all melee in 9th edition, you either need to be an absolute top player like Jack is, who we interviewed this week, or you need to know the terrain in advance and know, and And even then, I suppose, like, if you came up against Andrew's buggy list, like, you would lose that game 100%. There's no way you can win it with an all melee Blood Angels list. So that's the thing I think that's important to know is, like, all melee Blood Angels can be strong, but it can. Jack said it himself. It can also be very punishing and very difficult to play to a high level. So I'm not doing it, and I kind of like the hybrid approach that I've been playing this edition. I've had more consistent win rates in this edition than I've ever had, I think, and that's by using this sort of hybrid approach. So I will continue to do my hybrid approach, and yeah, I will continue to do my hybrid approach, and I will use the strongest units that are available to me in my arsenal. So if that is Redemptor Dreadnoughts or Vanguard Veterans or Chapter Master on a bike, if these are what I've deemed to be the strongest units from the Space Marine Codex, then yeah, hell yeah, I'll use them. Because if I didn't, then I would just be basically giving myself a disadvantage. My buddy and I are making mini tournament with our armies and had to face Grey Knights and Thousand Sons or Meter, Librarian or not, and other things to consider like Soul Warding. Yes, Soul Warding and Armor of Contempt, I guess. Contempt, I think, are going to be hugely important against Grey Knights and Thousand Sons. I played Thousand Sons recently since their codex, and in like one turn they honestly did about 17 mortal wounds in the psychic phase. It was absolutely disgusting. So if you don't have some way to negate some of those mortal wounds, you're gonna have real problems. You need to use your denies. Like, you deny after they've rolled the dice. So if they smite you on a 5, for example, instantly that you need to deny. So you need to deny every power you can that they manage to cast on a low number, I guess. And yeah, Thousand Sons are just in a great place, I think. All these new armies with their new codexes are. I also think Soul Warden is really valuable. I think Armor of Contempt is really valuable against these armies. I think it's amazing they're so old. You've had them for so long and now they're featuring your main tournament list for night. Yeah. The old Chain Fists, huh? Who would have thought that Chain Fists would make the comeback 20-something years later? Was the loadout on the Terminator? Stormbolt was on Chain Fists mainly. We have a couple with Power Fists, but it's just because I don't have 6 with Chain Fists, and the Cyclone Missile Launcher guy comes with a Targeter, so he has a Power Fist because he's got this. I think he's supposed to have a button in his hand for the Targeter, but this one doesn't. But yeah, the main reason that I'm running these guys is the Chain Fists. Flat 3 damage against vehicles, D3, which actually helps a lot against like Death Guard. So against Death Guard, like a third of the time I actually get to do 2 damage, as with Power Fists I'd always be doing 1. And yeah, Terminators just because they're survivable, I guess, right? You get a good amount of shots as well with Bolter Discipline, so like, you know, 7 Terminators is 28 Bolter shots. It's not bad. And that's at maximum range of like 24 inches, right? Hybrid is more Blood Angels than all melee to me. I mean, like I said, I've had higher win rates on the hybrid approach than I've ever had when my all melee. When I played all melee army lists, I literally won 50% of my games, I guess. Maybe sometimes slightly higher, like 60-40, but like never. You know, like. So I've played the Falchion. I did 9. I played the. If I break down like my games in 9th edition, I played the Falchion 9 times and I've won 9 games. I played the other army list that won 11 in a row, I played it 11 times. It won 11 times, so that's 20 wins out of 20. Had a little bit of a bad streak after Chapter Approved came out. I think I won like 2 games out of 8, or yeah, I think it was like 2 games out of 8. So I've got 22 wins now, 8 losses, and then since then I was at the tournament where I went 4 for 1. So that's like what, 26 wins, 9 losses. I beat Colin and Andrew both with the tournament list the week before, so 28 wins, 9 losses. And I'm sure, I mean, there's definitely some other games that I'm forgetting, but like basically in 9th edition, since I moved from an all melee list to a hybrid list, I win 3 out of 4 games, as opposed to maybe winning 6 out of 10. So now out of 10 I usually win like 8 or 9. And like this is those guys arguably playing stronger armies than me, right? Because they're playing like Death Guard and Sisters typically, who had new codexes, and like, well, I mean, everybody sort of agrees that the Blood Angels codex isn't as strong as it could be, right? Yeah, we do have a teleport homer on this squad as well, Highland. You're 100% right. So we can do a little bit of sneaky redeployment. I'm going to put a little bit of black on this guy's gun, and I'm going to call it a night. I am back tomorrow in the afternoon to look at army lists, and then I will post up tomorrow details of what's happening on Monday. And I think it's going to be Craft World, and I think Kev is going to maybe bring a super heavy tank. We'll see. It would be nice. I have very little experience in fighting against other people's super heavies. It's more often than not that I bring a super heavy. So, do you know what? I've played against Andrew's Astraeus a few times, but Andrew doesn't play his Astraeus as cagey as, like, if it was me and I was playing the Astraeus. Are you still watching, reviewing Angels of Death? New episode was tight. Do you know what, Null? I've been so busy with moving house that I am like 3 or 4 episodes behind at this point. I've only seen the first 2. I 100% will, and I think what I'll do is next time I get a chance to watch, which is hopefully this week, I'll watch like 2 or 3 of them, and then I'll do like a single video that like goes over the 3 episodes or something. Yeah, it's just so I was away like all weekend last weekend for like the tournament, and then what with moving house, the other weekends I've literally been like, today I got up and then from like 10:30 in the morning till about 6:30 at night I just packed stuff in boxes and took it to a storage, like a self-storage place. That was like my whole day, and I've done that every day for like every day. I've not been working for like the last 3 weeks apart from the weekend I was at the tournament. So I definitely want to watch the next episodes of Angel's Death 100%, and I will definitely make a video on them. Everyone is uber anti Games Workshop right now. I'm not anti Games Workshop, I guess. I have sort of been reading all the stuff, but like, I'm not big enough channel for them to send me anything for free, you know. That was kind of my dream a while ago, where I was like, yeah, maybe I could get the channel big enough where like they send me things, and you know, we can review like the codexes early and stuff. Like, that was the dream for the channel. But after everything I've been hearing, I'm like, do you know what? Maybe my channel is just more of what we do right now. You know, like, this channel is about helping Blood Angels players get wins and talking over army lists and all these kind of things, hanging out, just painting models. So maybe, as much as I would have liked to get those new books early and be able to go over them early and stuff, maybe I'm happy just doing more of what I'm doing, I guess. So I'm not anti Games Workshop at all, but also I'm I'm not as worried about maybe trying to build that relationship. I'll just keep doing me, and I guess you guys are. There's still, like, I get a lot of support. Yeah, I know 10k isn't too far away, and that's what I was hoping to get to, was 10k, and like, I heard, like, the rumor I heard was like at 10k Games Workshop will speak to you. But like, if them speaking to me means like I can't be honest, then I'm actually not that interested, I guess. And maybe that'll disappoint some of you guys, but like, I'd rather the channel was honest. Honesty, and like in my real life, like I hate dishonest people. I guess like I was just brought up to be honest, and like I used to watch a lot of football, you know, and like in professional football, like soccer, and like see when they get tackled and they're rolling around on the ground for 5 minutes. That sort of behavior, that sort of dishonest, whatever you would call it, like it just puts me right off. Like, I'm just not interested. I've played 40k games against people before, and I've seen them like move their models extra inches when, you know, like, for example, they need to do a charge or something. You can play it. Well, you could screen the Astraeus, right? Against Blood Angels, you would screen the Astraeus, so I can't charge it against Rizio. Whereas Andrew just like moved it straight forward to try and kill some of my stuff, and then got like a turn 1 charge on it or something ridiculous. But yeah, no, I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in if it's not honest. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. If we get to 10,000 subscribers, we'll have a think. But like, I don't want to. I don't even know. But you're right. There is a lot of anti-Games Workshop stuff going on right now. I haven't really got involved in that in any way, shape, or form, and I don't plan on it. But yeah, I don't know what the right. I don't know what quite the right thing is. But yeah, we'll definitely cover the next episodes of Angels of Death then. We'll try and make sure that we get that done this week. I'm going to finish filming my tournament video for next Friday first, and then I'll try and do Angels of Death after that. That'd be cool. That gives me a plan. Thank you, Null. Appreciate you hanging out here. Talking about people straight up attacking fans for watching Warhammer Plus. That's the level of anti-Games Workshop I'm talking about. Yeah, you know, I did a video on my video on Warhammer Plus was saying quite the opposite. I was telling people to subscribe to it, and saying like, I'm pretty sure Netflix sucked when it first came out. It'll get better if you don't subscribe to it. You know, like, most of us have probably been wanting like official animations for how many years, or, you know, like I remember seeing the Ultramarines movie like a decade ago at this point and thinking like, wow, would it be cool if there was like a Blood Angels movie or something like that. So the fact that we finally got it and everybody's hating them is it's really sad, I guess. But I mean, from my understanding, it's all self-inflicted, so I don't know. It's really tough. I mean, I have zero contact with Games Workshop, but like, I don't know if you guys noticed, I renamed the channel, so we're no longer called the Blood Angels Commander, we're called BA Commander. So I got rid of Blood Angels out of my channel name because I don't know if I'd get in trouble for that. I also paid to redo my logo, so obviously I'd paid for the logo to get commissioned before. I paid for it to get it redone. Because again, I don't know if it was too close to a Space Marine, and like, yeah, it's just and I'm a very small like / nobody channel, so it's I can understand why some people are upset. I'm not gonna get upset, but at the same time, I don't want to lose my channel, so I took a couple of steps to try and make sure that doesn't happen, I guess. The only anti-Games Workshop hill I stand on is balance the game. And Thomas, you're 100% right. Do you know what? That is the hill that I stand on as well, actually. I hate the balance right now. Like, those trucks that Andrew has for the Orc they are so broken. Like, how anyone could think they're balanced is beyond me. Like, it's just ridiculous. I hate the fact that every new codex comes out brings power creep and makes older codexes like less relevant or worse or whatnot. Like, especially, like I made a solid call to stick with one army because like I'm a father now, and like I want to give like a lot of my free time to my family. So I thought to myself, like, I can't do multiple armies as much as I would like to, and I have multiple armies. I have some armies sitting in boxes that literally don't get played or literally don't get painted ever because I just don't have time. And I made that stance where it's like, right, I'm gonna focus on a single army, and like I still give Games Workshop money all the time because like, hey, new stuff does come out for the Space Marines quite often. But the fact that like every new codex just throws the balance all over the place, like that's I agree with that. I stand on a hill that says balance the game. But okay, thank you for hanging out tonight, guys. Appreciate all the support as always. It's nice to see some new faces that we've maybe not spoken to much before. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I do try and go live a couple of times every week. The most fun we usually have is on Monday nights when we play live battles every week, and usually we win. I'd say usually we win. 3 out of 4 times apparently we win. And I will be live tomorrow afternoon for about 2 hours as we talk about army lists, as we do every single Sunday. And I'll give you tomorrow's army lists for the stream. Belong to the following people. We are looking at Left-Handed Texans army list. He was in the chat a little bit earlier, so we've got his list to look at. We've got Steve T, who is also a channel member, so shout out to Steve T. Actually, we've got Pie Production, and then I think it's Dr. Aklushka. I don't need to double check that. I'm noticing a duplicate on my list. Maybe it was a slight typo from last week, but yeah, that's roughly what we've got tomorrow night. And that kicks off at 4 p.m, so around 16 hours from now, if anyone wants to hang out. There is no... Do you know what? There is a win streak at the moment, but I haven't updated the bot, Highland Phoenix. Because I beat Andrew this week, and the week before that I also beat Necron. So the current win streak is 2. I went up against an AdMech flyer list where I conceded at the top of turn 1 because one flyer flew up next to my characters and killed 2. That is harsh. In that case, you should have probably tried to position units so he couldn't have fit the base of his flyers in, because those flyers do have pretty big bases. That is one thing you can try and use against them, I guess. But yeah, anyway, it is midnight here, so I usually take off about midnight. I will see some of you guys tomorrow. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I hope you all have a good Saturday night. By the blood are we made strong, brothers. Peace.